And I multiply that out. Okay? I get this 6x squared plus 8x plus 3x plus 4. If I left it there and I said factor it, that's 4 terms. So we would group it just like we did at the beginning of class today. You put brackets around there, put brackets around there. You take out a common factor and you end up with this. Okay? If I combine the middle terms, 8 and 3x, I get this expression, which is the same thing. I've just combined the like terms. Okay? 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. So the question that we have to figure out is, how do I get from this point here to this point here so that I can then use grouping to factor it? Okay? All right? So we know 8 plus 3 is 11. Correct? All right. What's 8 times 3? 8 times 3 is 24. Is everybody with me so far? Okay. Oops. What's 6 times 4? 24. So what you need to do, and then we can do this over and over again and demonstrate a pattern. But what you do when you have a question that looks like this, to figure out how to break up the middle term, you multiply, and I'm going to write the steps out so you don't just have to memorize them. You multiply the 2 n terms and find the factors of that. Okay, so let's look at this one. We're not using no algebra tiles. 5x squared plus 7x plus 2. Is there, oh, it's break time, isn't it? No, we're 10 after. No, we're 10 after. You can suck it up for 8 minutes. All right. So 5x squared plus 7x plus 2. Is there a common factor? No, there is not. 5, 7, and 2 do not have a common factor, and there is not an x in every one. Okay. So then you have to use, if you look at, where is my sheet? If you look at this sheet, we have 3 terms. It's like this. Okay? So we have to figure out how to split the middle term. So what we do, and again, I will start writing the steps right here. Here's your steps. Why I put a T on the end of steps, I don't know. Steps. Number 1 is 2. Multiply first and last term. So what's 5 times 2? Okay. So then, and you do that off to the side. I'm just going to write it over here. 5 times 2 equals 10. Then find the multiples, or the factors, sorry, of 10 that add to the middle term. So i.e., what multiplies to 10? This is like the other stuff we did. What multiplies to 10 and adds to 7? 5 and 2. I know, it's magic. So then your third step is rewrite middle term using those multiples. So I come over here and I go, okay, 5x squared plus And instead of writing 7x, I write it using the multiples that multiply to 10 and add to 7. So I go, okay, 5x plus 2x plus 2. I just split the 7 into the 5 and the 2. That's all I did. And that's the same thing, right? Because 5x plus 2x is 7x. We haven't changed anything yet. Nope. It's like 5 apples plus 2 apples, 7 apples. Now we have 4 terms, so you factor by grouping. Okay? Last step is factor by grouping. So grouping says, bracket the first 2. What's your common factor? Thank you. So 5x comes out. I'm left with x plus 1. Bracket the second 2. Take out a 2. I'm left with x plus 1. How do you know you're doing it right? So now what do I do? There you go. X plus 1 comes out. And you're left with 5x plus 2. And you have factored your first trinomial with a unequal to 1. All right. We will stop it there. We'll have a quick break. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we know the steps now. All right, you multiply the first and last term. So let's do this one, 6a, 4a. 6x squared plus 17x minus 3. Ask yourself, is there a common factor you can take out? No. So what's the first step? Multiply the first and last. So 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. So then you ask yourself, what multiplies to negative 18 and adds to 17? Close. 18 and negative 1. You got to watch the signs, okay? So now you break up the middle term. So I got 6x squared plus 18x minus x minus 3. Now I'm going to do it 2 different ways because obviously I could put the negative 1 first and then the 18. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't technically matter ever, but sometimes it makes your life easier if you do it one way or the other. So if I go up here, I'll just do it both ways. You don't have to write it both ways. I'll just do it and you can see. Okay, now I got 4 terms. What do I do when I have 4 terms? How do you factor? Max. Grouping, thank you. So group the first 2. What do I factor out? Sorry? What's the largest number you can take out? 6x. And you get x plus 3. Always take the largest. What am I going to take out of the second set? Negative 1, because that's going to flip all the signs, right? How do you know you're doing it right? Brackets match. So now what do I do? Perfect. And there's the factored form. If I did it up here, this red method, I'm going to pull an x out. You don't have to write this. Pull a 3 out. Pull a 6x minus 1 out. And I get x plus 3. That's the same as that. Okay? So it doesn't matter how you order the middle bit. Okay? I did 18 and then the minus x, and it went this way. But I could have done negative x plus 18, gone that way. I get the same thing. Okay? It doesn't matter. All right. Let's do one more and then I'll give you some practice because this is really just about practice. Okay, thank you. Let's do this one here. B. 15k squared plus 5k minus 10. What is your first step every single time you get a factoring question? Common factor. Now you can do this without it, but the numbers are going to be a lot bigger. All right? So the common factor is a 5. So pull a 5 out. And I get 3k squared plus k minus 2. Much more manageable now. So now what is my step? What do I do? You got to do, so first times last. Okay. So we go first times last. So 3 times negative 2 gives me negative 6. Then you ask yourself, what multiplies to negative 6 and adds to what number? 1, because there's a 1 right there, right? So what is it? 3 and negative 2. Okay. So then we get, the 5 is still there. We get 3k squared. What do you want to do first, the 3 or the negative 2? 3? So you have that. We got 4 terms, so we group. What do I pull out of the green set of brackets? 3k. And I'm left with k plus 1. On the outside of that, there's still the 5. What do I pull out of the second set of brackets? Or the second 2 terms? Negative 2, because you want to flip the signs, right? Because I got to get k plus 1. We know we're doing it right because the brackets match. So then I can pull the k plus 1 out. And there you go. Okay, just make sure the 5 is still there. All right. Are there any questions about that? It's just, you just have to practice it a few times. This is called decomposition. Factoring by decomposition. Just so you see, if you see that term, I would like you to do number 3, please. If we're going to use the quadratic formula. Now we're going to factor something that we already know, or we're going to use it to factor something we already know. So first of all, x squared plus 5x plus 6. We know how to factor that. I crossed out what was there. This is page 310. What multiplies to 6 and adds to 1 or 5? 2 and 3. So we know that that would factor to x plus 2, x plus 3. Okay? You would be done. But I'm going to show you how the quadratic formula will give you the answer as well. Okay? That's the answer we want to get. The quad formula. Okay. The only trick to using the quadratic formula is knowing what A, B, and C are. Okay? If you look at the general term of a quadratic equation, quadratic just means you have the highest degree is 2. That's all it means. Okay? A is the number or the coefficient in front of the x squared. B is the coefficient in front of the x, and C is the last term or the constant term in this case. Okay? So for this equation, what is my A value? 1. What's my B value? What's B? 5. And C is 6, the constant term. All you have to do is plug those into the formula. That's all you did. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you. So negative B. So that means I get negative 5 plus minus square root. B squared is, all right, 5 squared minus 4 times your A value, which is 1, times your C value, which is 6. And it's all divided by 2 times your A value, which in this case is 1. Why did I write negative B when I actually know what B is? Negative 5 should be there. Okay, now you just have to evaluate this. So do what's inside the square root first. Well, if you know how to factor, you don't have to do this. 5 squared is 25. 6 times 4 is 24, and it's all negative. Over 2. What's 25 minus 24? 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. So I get negative 5 plus minus 1 over 2. So then what you do is you go negative 5 plus 1 over 2, negative 5 minus 1 over 2. That's what the plus minus means. You have to do both. What's negative 5 plus 1? Divided by 2. What's negative 5 minus 1? Divided by 2. Negative 3. And remember, we said, I'll come back to this in a sec, it factors to the form x minus e, x minus d. These are your e and d values. This is your e and your d. I just made up the e and d, the variables. So then you just go x minus e, x minus d. What's your e and d? Exactly. No. I'll tell you when you have to use it. What does negative and negative equal? So you get x plus 2, x plus 3. You get the same. So, which is faster? Not that one. Factoring is faster. Okay? Because I want to show you get the same answer. You have to use this when it's not possible. When factoring is not a method. So we're gonna look at this one right now. Okay? All right, here we go. So we're gonna do this middle one here. 4x squared minus 12x plus 3. Ask yourself, is there a common denominator? No. All right, there is no common denominator. So then you go, okay, well, what if I do 4 times 3? I get 12. So then you have to ask yourself, what multiplies to 12, because this is decomp, and adds to the middle term? Is there anything? There isn't. 12 and 1 will give you 13 or 11. Like, it's not going to work. Okay? So when you've exhausted all those, that's when you use this. Okay? So now we're just going to do it with this one. And this is the only example I'll show you. So, what's my A value? 4. What's my B value? Negative 12. Take the sign that is in front of the number. And your C value is 3. Okay. Plug it into the formula. You're going to need a calculator for this. So negative of negative 12 becomes 12 out there. So deal with the square root first. Where is it answered? Yeah, so you'd have to solve for x, but we're not doing that right now. 12 plus or minus root 144 minus 8. 144 minus 48. So you get to this point here. Now you go 12 plus root 96 over 8. 12 minus root 96 over 8. You'll need a calculator to do those. You're going to get decimal answers. Go to 2 decimal places. People do it? You get those? 2.72 and 0.28. So it means the factored form of this polynomial is x minus 2.72, x minus 0.28. That's why you can't factor it, because they're decimal answers. All right?
I don't like that.
Oh no, these aren't fun.
I don't like that it's this. Can you get one that's not a decimal?
Yeah, if it's factorable,
Well, yeah,
it'll give you
but
whole numbers.
In a way that you have to use quadratic formula, not in a way that you factor it. Like if it's not factorable.
If it's not factorable, you're gonna get decimals.
I don't like that.
All right, you're only gonna do one question. You don't even want to do the one. So I just want you to do eight A on page 313. Just the one. You can do 2 if you want. You can do all of 8 if you really want to. Page 313, 8A. That's all I want you to do. Factor that. What? Don't worry about the equal 0. Just scratch out the equal 0 and just factor it. The equal 0 is the next. You have to use this because it's not factorable. Divergence. No. Yeah.
break his legs?
I have a guy named,
Mr. Versus the Goat.
his name is Tony. He does my collecting.
Where's Tony?
He's about 6'6",
I'm still waiting on Sean.
310, he does my collecting. Tony. What's up, Fergus? Hey, good looking guy, you. Oh, you got all the ladies around you, nice. Oh, sorry. I just saw the pink shirt. There's a modern, you know, perception. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's just for your opinion.
I'm not scared.
I can't give his real name up because he gets in trouble by his name. So I'm Tony. Tony. Riley, you bring your gown tomorrow? Oh, you're not gonna come? No. Come on, it'll be fun. Free ice cream. Can I have your ice cream? Yeah. That's 7 so far. Okay, see you guys. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Burgess is a funny guy.
Wait, how you determine which one's ABC again?
Go in order.
Gotcha.
Wait, what if this is oh, then you gotta.
Okay.
That's what the answer should be.
This is where I screwed it up last time. I don't know how to put that in.
With the 193?
No, but all of that.
The,
When I did it, I got a completely different answer.
class.
Yeah.
Equals. Divided by.
One squared.
This stuff, I gotta put your hand.
1 minus 192, which is negative. Oh, hang on.
I just did, I put
1 plus, I
one.
thought it was 3, right?
That's one X. I don't know.
Oh, that's just because. Oh, it's just around it. Yeah, that's just around it.
2A. It's 2A. Oh, it's 2A. So it's 2 times 2 is 4 divided by 4.
Is it alphabetical order that you?
A and C, so it really doesn't matter that it's putting that nonsense.
B squared minus 4C.
Yeah, I have it backwards, but it doesn't make a difference.
It will make a difference, yeah.
It will, but if you're still multiplying all
Yeah,
together.
but B squared inside.
I put, oh, I did B squared, B squared is backwards. I got it.
No, that
So here's 2A.
A is, no, that's 12. It's 2. That's why, because I was like, what is going on?
I don't know where I came up with
It's like $700.
Did people get that?
I'm not done yet.
No, you didn't?
I'm like an eighth of the way through, to be honest. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what letter. No. Another thing, exactly,
I'm on this part right now. So I have
About
that.
it.
That's where we're gonna get
Let me go with it.
Four.
You can't square root a negative, so it should work out to be a positive inside the square root. Watch your sign.
It's 1 minus 3, 2.
That was a little better.
So it's like there's 1 minus 32. This is only 1 minus. -4.
Oh.
And then that, -4. So it should be root 33.
Teacher?
What did I do wrong? I got this one.
I got what?
So one thing about this is like.
I'm not using it. I am not using it.
It's really random. You just pick one of them to put a negative or the minus?
No, because it's always. Oh, hang on. Is it supposed to be minus? One of your answers should be negative. Negative 1.7?
I put positive 1.7.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mine, it wasn't negative?
Yeah. No, the answer you get is negative, right?
Yeah, it would be negative.
It's always written like this. X minus E or whatever your answer is.
Yeah.
X minus D. So if
Yeah.
it's negative, you get double negative,
Yeah,
which
that would
makes
be
it positive.
so that would be
And if
positive.
you got positive 1.2, it's X minus.
Okay, I did it right. Woohoo! Can we not do that again?
You don't have to use it. Only in the
But you're
case
gonna
it's
give
not-
us a question on the
I'll
test.
say it's not that. I'll point it out to
Oh,
you.
okay. I'll take that then.
I'm going off like.
And praying we get this formula. So I remember it. If we do have this on the test, we're gonna be allowed to have the formula with us.
I'll give you the formula. And you wrote it on that sheet, right?
Yeah.
You get that sheet on test. No. Most people don't. Okay. Okay, peoples. I know this is boring as bleep. I find it boring because we're just learning how to factor, but we have to do this. So, my apologies. This is the last thing that we do today. We're going to do a couple more. All right, so we're back into wherever we were before. This is page, what page are we? 117. Lesson number 4. Yeah, I think we can finish factoring today. Okay, we're just going to do one of these ones. We're going to do this one. Middle one here, B. All right, so. I was recording the whole time. So, what do you notice about this as opposed to everything else that we've done? Like, as opposed to this, say I give you this.
It's got like more, too many exponents.
Yeah, the exponents are higher. Okay. It's the same process though. All right. As long as you can figure out two numbers that multiply to that, i.e. 2 and 2, you're fine. Okay. Now we have 3 terms. So if you look on your sheet, I'm not repeating myself. We have 3 terms. All right. Is the A value 1? Does it look like this or does it look like this? It looks like this? Looks like this, right? The number in front of the x squared, or x to the 4 in this case, is 1. All right, so it's got a 1 there. So when it's got a 1 there, how do we factor it? What does your sheet say to do? There's 3 terms though. They're on the bottom left. What am I looking for? 2 numbers that multiply to this one and add to the middle. What multiplies to -5 and adds to 4? -1 and 5. X minus 1, x plus 5. Okay? Now, what's wrong with what I just wrote? There's not enough x's. To get this x to the 4, these have to be x squared, right? So when you get a question like this, just make sure that these will multiply to give you this. Okay? So now, am I done? You know the answer is no as soon as I ask that question. What can I break up? Which one?
The negative. You take out.
What's the negative?
The one.
That is true. But what is this? Look on your sheet. What? Difference of squares. You can square root both of these. So that one can be factored further to x plus 1, x minus 1. And the x squared plus 5. So on a test or a quiz, this would be on a quiz. This is half mark. Say this is out of 2 marks. You get 1 mark for this step. You get another mark for this step. Okay? So you keep going until you can't go anymore. It's on your sheet at the bottom. This thing.
Can we get our feet on the bed?
Yeah, you're allowed to use that. I told you that yesterday.
Can we fill this
You can
sheet with
use
stuff?
this. You're allowed to use this on your quizzes and your tests.
Can we write
Okay? You can write stuff on the front. You can't write stuff on the back. All right. Hang on. All right. This one. So, which one does it match? How many terms are there? 3. Is there a common factor? No. What's the number in front of the first term, the highest exponent? 1. So I'm looking for numbers that. Thank you. Multiply to the last term, add to the middle term. What multiplies to 14 and adds to -9? -7 and -2. Is that it? Is that the answer? Why? What do the exponents have to be? Yes. Can I break them up any further? Well, can you square root x cubed?
No.
You can't, right? Can you square root of 7? No. Can you square root of 2? I mean, you can, but they're not nice numbers. Okay? So you're done. Okay. All you're doing from this lesson is number 1, pick. How many do you want to pick? 1? No. 2. Number 1, pick 2. Whoever said 2. And then I got one last thing, and then factoring's over. I'm just trying to get it done because I want to get into other stuff. Applications of factoring. But this is just like for. It's not a difference. Difference means subtraction. This is the last factoring we're doing. So we have 7 times x minus 3 all squared minus 4 times x minus 3 minus 3. Okay, looks like a gong show. Is kind of a gong show. Do not multiply the 7 in or the 4 in. Don't do that. That's going to make it, just don't. Okay? When you see brackets, okay, with a bunch of stuff in it, you want to make a substitution, right? So when you have brackets, substitute. Okay, you want to make a substitution to get rid of those brackets and simplify the expression. Now, you can use any variable, anything you want. Okay? What variable do you want to use? 1's not a variable. Variable's a letter. What I just said. A. A? You get to pick any variable you want. So you go A equals what's in the brackets. So we say A equals x minus 3. So then I substitute that into the equation. So now my equation is 7a squared minus 4a minus 3. Okay? So you just pick any letter, and that is your substitution. Okay? Now I factor this. This is factorable. We have how many terms? 3. Is there a common factor? No. So what do I need to do? Is the term in front of the a squared a 1? No. So what do I have to do? Split the middle. How do I split the middle? 7 times negative 3. So I get negative 21. So then you ask yourself, what multiplies to negative 21 and adds to negative 4? Negative 7 and positive 3. So now, which do you want to write first? 7, because you have the other 7. So it becomes that. And then what do? Group it, right? You know you're doing it right because same brackets. Am I done? You know the answer is no. Why? Why am I not done? That is true. Sorry? Somebody said it. Yes. Because we said a is equal to x minus 3. I don't want the a's in there, so you have to sub it back in. So you get x minus 3 minus 1 is the first bracket. 7 times x minus 3 plus 3 in the second bracket. That's ugly as, so what do I have to do? Simplify it. Combine your like terms. So negative 3 minus 1 is 4. That gets multiplied into there. No, because you got to multiply by 7, right? So I get minus 18. That is the factored form. This is full marks. All right. All you have to do is pick. What page is this? All you have to do, yeah. You love that. All you have to do. Number 5, pick. Here, do A and B in number 5. I never say do A and B, but now I'm saying it. 5, A and B, please. Tomorrow you have a quiz. It's only on. It's on all the factoring we've done. You get that sheet. This sheet. Actually, let me stop this video here.